Hi guys, welcome back to Too Cool for Middle School. Obviously I'm not in my usual filming place and I have a guest. So this is Rich Duvarney. He is the County Superintendent of Tehama County currently, but he was my middle school science teacher and he was a principal and he's my dad.
Most importantly. So I was a 7th grade science teacher for 18 years and a principal and an alternative ed director and the juvenile hall and community school program, a lot of alternative ed stuff. I was assistant superintendent, associate superintendent, district superintendent, and now I'm county superintendent in Tehama County. Well,
How many years ago did you start?
Teaching?
Yeah.
30 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it takes a while to do all that stuff. So we've got questions from you. We'll just start with an easy one. What's the best and worst part of your job as an administrator?
Actually, the best part is that you really get to inspire a lot of people. As a classroom teacher, you have an effect over the kids in your classroom, and that's really powerful. And so as I was going into administration, I realized that my breadth of influence could be greater as far as what I can influence. So that's really the best part as far as the degree of influence. The worst part is that more so when things get bad, they're really bad. So you really have to deal with some bigger disasters at times. Not very often, but when you do it, it's kind of big. So that's probably the worst part.
The stakes are higher.
Yeah.
So a lot of you maybe are applying for jobs soon or are in school to be a teacher or something. And so one that kind of reflects your questions is, when dealing with a large amount of applications for a position at a school, what makes an applicant stand out, or what are some like interview tips or just tips for getting hired in a district?
You know, that's kind of tough. It's difficult because HR processes vary from district to district. So I don't know that there's a real clean answer to that. I do know that when we're looking at applications, that you're looking at everyone's going to probably have a teaching credential. They may or may not have years of experience, but there's a lot of other things that you can put in there as far as community service and other, maybe you work for the Boys Club or the Girls Club or 4-H leader or ag or FFA, a lot of that volunteer kind of stuff. So that all adds up into, are we going to give them an interview or not?
Mm-hmm.
So.
And actually, we did some hiring at our school this year, and my principal was saying that it was for an English teacher position. And she said that there were all these applications, like cover letters that said, "I'm such a great English teacher," and they had a ton of like errors, like grammatical errors and typos. So just look over it, have somebody look over it, because that was a quick way for her to be like, I don't know if I want you teaching English at my school.
I'd say at least have 2 people look at your grammar and your sentence structure and that kind of stuff, because that is a red flag.
And you were telling me about a book that had some good like criteria for hiring people?
Yeah, so check this out. This is really good from an HR standpoint.
I'll write it right here.
So, okay. Patrick Lencioni, and his newer book is The Ideal Team Player. And so essentially what he goes through is, what is the ideal team player? How do you define that? Well, in this book it comes out that there's three virtues that are really important, and that the person is humble, hungry, and smart. So, and that's smart with people. So are they humble? Are they willing to listen to other people's ideas, or do they already feel like they know anything? Are they really hungry and passionate about education and what they do? Or is it just kind of a job that they're kind of doing for a little while? And then the third one is smart with people, and that's a critical one. They can be wonderful in their content area. They can have all of the education language down, but if they can't relate to fellow teachers and parents and kids, it really doesn't make any difference.
Okay, here's another one that says, if you have a real concern as a teacher about district policy, something like the lack of instructional assistant hours, what's the best way to bring up this concern or to voice it so that it might lead to the result that you want?
Great question, and really important for teachers to understand this. So a little bit of history back for 80 years or so, we always had education funding coming in the same way. It came in as categorical funding. So what happened was you would have a category of funding that had a little bit of money, you'd spend it all, that'd be gone, and then you'd have another category with a bunch of money in it and you couldn't spend it because it had regulations. So 4 years ago, the State Board of Education decided to take the money under local control funding formula, and this is just California, by the way.
So only California teachers.
So the local control funding formula, so essentially a school district gets all their money in one pot, local control funding formula. And so at that point there needs to be accountability to that money and input. And so that's through the LCAP process, so the local control accountability plan. So the local control accountability plan listens to stakeholders, so that would be parents and students and teachers and community members and all the different folks that maybe have an opinion as far as where the funds should go. So if you have something that you really feel is going to improve the classroom and learning situation of kids, then what you do is you make sure that you know when the LCAP meetings is, the LCAP stakeholder meetings are, and that you go to those and that you voice those concerns. And they will list those concerns from whoever it happens to be, and they'll consider those as they go forward with the budget. And I think it's a really good system. It hasn't worked out all the kinks yet, but it's going in the right direction. So make sure that you go to your LCAP stakeholder meetings.
And to be honest, as a teacher, I've never been told about that. No one's ever told me when an LCAP stakeholder meeting is, so now that's something that I need to look into. The only thing that we get sent is an email. I don't know if it comes from our principal or the district, but it's the LCAP survey. So if you're a teacher in California, you might have gotten that and then ran out of time to fill it out and maybe not really understood what it was because there's not a lot of explanation. But that's the thing that's actually going to create change in your district if you want that.
Absolutely, yeah. Really important to know.
They're sent out to parents and students as well. I remember giving it to my students a couple years ago. I don't know how they did it last year, but then even the students, if they've got concerns about things, they'll even listen to students.
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay, here's another good one that might apply to some of you. This lady says thank you in advance, and then she said her question is for someone who wants to take a similar path, teaching to principal to superintendent, what would be words of wisdom of the best path towards administration, and what would you recommend to avoid or seek alternative ways?
Very good question. For one thing, if you're a newer teacher and essentially you're trying to move over on the salary schedule, and so my advice to newer teachers trying to move on, if you feel like you're going to be going to administration at some point, go ahead and go that direction with your master's to begin with. So what I did in the wrong way is I just took a whole bunch of different units, got my BA plus 60, and then after that I figured, well, now I'm going to go into administration, so then I got another bunch of units.
So do an admin credential,
right,
or a master's in
administrative and administration and supervision is usually how people go. And so to going in that direction, for one thing, you may need to be flexible as far as where you live. In my experiences, you probably have more opportunities in a smaller rural area for advancement than you do in a larger urban area. So you may get your admin credential and your doctorate and everything, but you may stay as a principal for the rest of your career. Whereas in a smaller community, you can advance much quicker. And then just that whole learning process. As I was teaching, I was kind of doing the same old thing, but once I got into my admin program, I really started to learn, and once you're learning and you're engaged, you're excited about what you're doing again, so that's really an important part of it too.
And one thing to know that I didn't realize is for almost every administration job, you get hired and you interview and apply. If you want to be a county superintendent, it's an elected position, right?
Right, so there's 58 counties in the state of California, and so there's 58 county superintendents. 5 of them aren't elected, but the rest of them are. And those are the bigger areas like San Diego and San Francisco.
So just know that would involve campaigning rather than just making a really nice resume.
Right.
Here's another good one. How do you reach all admin teachers and staff to help them feel appreciated and focus on a common goal or vision. I feel like that's sometimes
Mm-hmm.
hard. Like administrators will go to some conference and like hear about this really amazing thing, and then they try and get everybody else excited about it, and the teachers are like, man, we already have a million things to do, we don't care about this new thing. Like, how do you kind of get
That's
people
a
excited?
great question. Yeah, and it's really a challenge. For one thing, if you're a superintendent, I think your responsibility is to engage your staff and really create a positive culture with your staff at all levels, no matter what their positions are, and really affirm and support what they do, that on a general basis. Now, if you have an initiative or something that you are excited about, it shouldn't be coming from the superintendent, really. I mean, it should be coming from the ranks. So, if it's something that has to do with instruction in the classroom, then that is a matter of engaging a few teachers, a few staff members to implement that. But it's, the top-down thing. It used to be, years ago, everything, the superintendent said this and boom, that's what we're doing. That's not the way leadership works anymore. Leadership works from the bottom up, and so I feel as a superintendent that I need to serve the people that work under me, and that I need to make sure that they have all the tools that they need to be successful in their positions. So very important.
And teachers always appreciate that too. I've had good superintendents and bad superintendents, and the ones that come down and tell you that you're not doing a good job, you don't want to do a better job for them.
Really good point. Yeah.
The ones that inspire you, and they're like, we hired you for a reason, you're doing great, we trust you to implement the things in your classroom that you know how to do, that makes you want to be a better teacher.
No doubt. Yeah, really important.
Here's another one that could apply to like being a principal or a superintendent or anything, but what are the best strategies you found to build a positive school climate for staff and students? And how do you as a principal foster collaboration between teachers?
So it comes down to that whole school culture and organizational culture, and really, and another great book is The Speed of Trust, McCovey, great.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I'm thinking Covey, Stephen Covey. But
Yeah.
is there another guy that's
No,
McCovey?
no, Covey. You're
Covey?
right.
Okay,
Stephen
Stephen Covey. I like
So,
this stuff.
The Speed of Trust is huge to build. A superintendent or a principal needs to spend a lot of time building that trust with their staff, and it takes a little while to do that. You don't come in and tell everybody what to do. You come in and you find out what they're doing, you learn, and then you kind of go from there. So that's really important. And then, well, in our office, we're the only county office in the state that we're a no excuses university county office. And
like
so
this.
that is a very powerful structure for collaboration and for staff morale. And so we run a lot of things through our No Excuses University platform. So there's some different ways of doing it, but that's one structure that we found that's really effective.
So this is another one that's kind of for like when you were a principal. How do you strike a balance between honoring parental concerns and defending your teachers? Not with something that's just cut and dry, but like a he said, she said kind of a thing.
Yeah, it's always really difficult, and that has to do with, when we're talking about humble, hungry, and smart with people. The smart with people is, you have to get good at that, and that becomes difficult. But I think if you've established trust with your staff, they'll know that you have their back. Unless it's a real terrible staff member that you're having issues with otherwise. But for the most part, your staff is going to know that you have their back. They're going to know, where you're going to go with it. But then a lot of communication, and then also, anytime there's conflict, the best thing to do is get people together, not be in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. So let's sit down with the three of us and talk about the situation. And I think the staff member will know that you have their back, but then also you have to be transparent and real and say, we could have dealt with that better. I apologize, parent, that we didn't do a better job there. But I think if you're honest and you're sincere with getting better, then I think both sides would appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. One thing I like in those meetings that actually somebody suggested on Instagram once when I asked about how do you handle parent meetings, was they just said make an agenda also for any time you have a meeting where it's a little touchy, just so that you don't like start veering off into, because as the teacher, I could get defensive and start bringing up like,
Right.
well, your kid also does this and they also do this, and just kind of start like dumping on the kid. Or the parent could start bringing up outside things that they didn't like about my teaching or whatever,
Right.
and none of that would be constructive. But if we're just trying to solve a problem and we just hit the things on the list, it goes faster and you stay on topic.
Very good, yeah.
Weirdly, I've never
Right.
done that. I've never brought an agenda to a meeting like that, but I will forever now.
Yeah, really good.
Here's a good one. What are the qualities of a great principal, and what obstacles get in the way of achieving that greatness?
Wow, that's a good one. Yeah. You know, those leadership abilities are just critical for, you know, if you look at a school, a principal can make or break a school, because those teachers are going to be there for a long time either way, and the principal can come in for a year, for 3 years, or for 5 years, and can make a huge difference either in a positive way or a negative way. And so if they are a positive leader and encouraging and bringing the team together, that can be hugely important.
Or drive
to kids.
people away. Like I've heard
Or
people
drive
say,
people
like
away, right.
teachers don't quit schools; they quit principals.
They do, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you know, an important, you know, and then not only that, but the sad thing is people will have a poor administrator and they'll just leave teaching because
Yeah.
of the leaders, because they found that they weren't supported, they didn't have any help, and they just say, well, forget this, I'm going to go find something else. So qualities of a good principal is building those relationships with the team, and what was the other part of that question?
Like what obstacles could?
Yeah, the obstacles are, it's a really hard job, and just like teaching, and you can get really busy and you can forget the leadership aspect of it, so, because you're doing reports and you're doing all these things that you need to get done. But if you neglect the leadership part and the school culture part, then you're going to have a tough time. So.
I always really appreciate too when they just email you back. Like,
Yeah, and that's critical. I mean, that's a
don't
good
email me
one.
back
Yeah,
very
that's
often.
a good one. Right, yeah.
I know they're really busy, and like I feel like I have a lot of emails, but they have maybe 20 times as many as I do.
Yeah.
But if they at least just say like, okay, thanks for bringing that up, I'll talk to you about it later,
Right.
or I'll get back to you. But if I just don't hear from a principal for like a week, I'm like,
Did they ignore me?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and that's a given, and whether you're a teacher or a principal or superintendent,
Yeah.
you have to get back to people when they communicate with you.
yeah.
There's just, you know, if you don't, that whole trust piece is out
Yeah.
the window, so.
Usually as teachers, there's a lot of times some kind of a rule, like where if a parent emails you, you're supposed to get back to them within 24 hours, unless it's a weekend or something. But usually your admin wants the teachers to get back to parents, so
Yeah,
hopefully they're doing the same thing for you.
right. But then also the other part of it, whether you're a teacher or a principal or whatever it is really important to take care of yourself individually, as far as your health, your mental health. Because we have teachers specifically just burning out because they're overwhelmed and they don't go to the gym, and they don't take care of themselves, and they don't eat right. Really important for teachers, administrators to take care of themselves, to exercise and to eat right and to get rest and to recreate and do those things, because you work really hard, and if you don't get a rest in that process, you just burn, and it's not good. And then you don't feel good about what you're doing. So you know, put your whole heart into it, but also take those times to get away from it, rest, and have some time for yourself.
You don't want to snap.
No.
Oh, well, this is kind of an interesting question too. Because you have worked in this, like on both sides of this issue. So as a superintendent, how do you feel about the current charter school movement and its future impact on public schools?
Huge issue in the state of California, absolutely huge. You know, and the way I feel about charters is the way I feel about any other traditional school district. There are some great charters that do fantastic things for kids, and there's some that don't. They're just not quality educational structures. So you know, I think if we put our time and energy into quality charters, we need to do that. And then all the charters that aren't quality, then we need to have regulations and advocacy to get rid of those charters. So it just, you know, a good school is a good school. I don't care if you call it a charter school or a traditional school. It's all publicly funded, and it's all good for kids, or can be good for kids.
I I know of some great ones. I've said this before that I've seen some great ones, and I've seen some that are like a hot mess.
That's
and
right. Yeah.
I think the hard thing about charter schools too is that some of them are like scams.
Right. Yeah.
So like with
Can
public
be.
school, it's
Mhm.
not so much. I don't know. Like it could be a bad public school, but it's not really like no one's really profiting off of
Money-making,
it.
profiting thing, right?
Yeah. So I think that's where people get nervous about some charter schools.
And I think legislatively, we need to be really on that so that there's less likely that there'll be scam and stuff in charter schools.
Mm-hmm. There's one that just opened up near me that I'm really excited about. It's like a performing arts charter school. And it was, it's going to replace a school where they were like just losing lots and lots of students. And so their enrollment really went down, and their campus, they weren't sure what to do with it. So they're just spreading out their middle schoolers back to the elementary schools. And then this charter school is coming in, and it's like a really popular one. So it's just making good use of like facilities and money. And I like when it's like solving a problem.
Right, yeah, and that's the way it all started was they wanted innovative ideas for students, and they wanted specific areas to focus on it. And it shouldn't be just another school with just without
doing the same thing.
Doing the same thing. It needs to be something different.
Yeah, yeah. I like the ones that are focused on something, some kind of specialty. Hi, Derek. I get that. Unless you want to jump in.
No, sounds good.
Found a good one. Is it easy to forget what it's like to be in the classroom once you're out? With all due respect, it sometimes feels like admin forgets what it's like to be in the trenches.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Yeah, good observation. And I just think that that's really true, that people are out of touch. So for one thing, I think that if you're going to become an administrator, you need to spend significant time in the classroom. Because if you're in a classroom for a few years, you don't really get the full view of what all of the difficulties are. And so if you've been in the classroom for quite a while, then you really get the feel of it, and you're less likely to forget. I love being in classrooms. That's the funnest part of my job, is going into alternative ed classrooms, and we do a third grade dictionary project, and we go see the third graders, and it's just a blast. I love it, and it brings me back to the times that I was in that classroom. At my level, I mean, I don't really ever have to see a kid, really, which is really sad. So I make sure that I get out there and get into the classrooms. But I think it's part of the individual person that they don't have that connection.
How many years did you teach before you went into admin?
18 years before, so that was enough to.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the good, the bad, and the ugly, I think, in that time. And so when a teacher is talking to me about their issues, I'm like, okay, I get it, I understand, I've been there, And I mean, even from a burnout's perspective, I can remember a time in my career teaching where it's like I wasn't learning anything, and I was not really engaged in the process. But I would just absolutely encourage you to learn. You have to be learning all the time. Otherwise, you're going to get to that point where you're just static, and it's not very fun, and it'll come out in your teaching.
And so many of you are so great because you're actually doing this, you're watching YouTube videos and trying to get ideas from other people, like all over the world. You look at people's Instagrams. So you're always bringing new things into your teaching, and you probably wish that all of the teachers on your staff were doing the same thing. But I think this is a good first step. Do you have any tips for science teachers, middle school science teachers, since that's what you did for 18 years?
Yeah, but this might be more general too, as far as you can teach science, but really you're teaching kids first. So that's the most important part, is teaching kids first. So really
we
cool
did
stuff.
well. I've said this in other videos, but I was a student. Me and all of my sisters were in 7th grade science class, and I remember that we did lessons for life.
Yes, yeah.
Like
So
I don't know
those
how
were.
often.
Yeah, we do them every once in a while when we talk about college and what's an AA degree, what's a BA degree, and how much money and then all of a sudden these kids got really engaged in that. And so always bring your lessons back to real life that really apply to them. I mean, I can teach them about mitosis, but they may or may not
mitosis.
they may or may not be engaged in that, but when I start talking about their future, they're very much engaged in that. So teach kids first and your content second. And I recently heard a guy talk about, if you were to retire tomorrow and all your your kids gave you a party, what would they say? And what they would say was, how you connected with them and how important they felt. What they wouldn't say is they wouldn't say, oh, I love the way you taught me fractions. That's just not the way it is. So that's a really important thing to remember.
I remember that we had this like project, and it was a water bottle. It was like a magic water bottle, and you like poured it out, and it had a little bit of water, and then you poured it out again, it had more water, and like we all had to like get in groups and figure out how to make a magic water bottle. I never figured it out. I tried. I think I did a thing with it had like a cylinder in the middle. Oh, okay. No one's teaching that in your art anyways, but we had to figure it out. So I remember like from all my teachers, like things where I had to problem solve or things where, and because like that was done every year, it was like a thing on campus. Like, oh yeah, when you take Mr. Giovanni's class, you have to make a magic water bottle and you get to dissect frogs or whatever.
Yeah.
So even though like changing things up is good, sometimes if you have like a thing that's your thing, it's kind of cool, and like kids tell their younger siblings about it, and they come in and they know that about you already, and that's kind of fun too.
That's really fun, the continuity of it all.
Yeah.
That's good. All right. Well, that does it.
Yeah. So thank you so much for stopping by Too Cool for Middle School. Somebody said like, hi, Too Cool for Middle School Dad. So.
New title.
Thank you so much for watching. Also, you can follow you on Twitter. They are pretty active on social media and kind of just show highlights of the best things that they're doing in their district.
Videos,
through a lot of videos too. So I think that's really helpful. And like I teach in an urban area, but this is a very rural area, and I know that a lot of you teach in rural areas as well, where like job training is very important, and really pushing high school education or high school graduation for students is important. So if you're looking for strategies more geared toward that kind of culture, then you probably want to follow this Twitter account. They have cool makerspace stuff. They're like makerspace leaders. If you're trying to get into makerspace things, a lot of people are doing that right now. Yeah, so a bunch of resources for you below. So thank you again for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.